So in this video, I just wanted to do a analytical deep dive of North Carolina's 2020-2021 season. Now on my website, I have a written version of this, a PDF going through all my analysis, statistical comparisons between players, lineup analysis, box score, shooting charts, things like that. This is just going to be a reduced version for a video format. So here's my main output window, and the data it's reading is this. Now, this is every single North Carolina game from last season. Every single offensive and defense possession, and every single player's individual actions coded. Now, I don't have this attached to video just to keep the file size manageable and also to keep the output windows working a bit quicker, as if you've got video attached, it goes a little bit slower. So this is just the XML data, but this is what I'm reading, and this is all coded by me from my code window. And this is the output window, so I'm just going to focus on certain parts of it, the first being the box score. Now, the story of Carolina's season is essentially that they can't shoot from three, but they're really good on the inside. So as you can see, from three-point range, they only shot 32.1%, where their opposition shot 34.8%. However, from two, they shot 48%, when the opposition shot 46.5%. They didn't get a lot of blocks. You would think they'd get more based upon their size up front. However, the biggest statistical difference is their offensive rebounding, and we'll talk more about their offensive rebounding soon, but that was a big strength of their team, and 14.4 offensive rebounds a game is pretty good, with the biggest contributors being Sharp, who got 3.4 offensive rebounds a game, Brooks, who got 2.1, and then Baycott also got 3. Going to the advanced stats, everything goes a bit slow purely based upon the file sizes. You'll notice that's going to be a theme, but we'll get there eventually, especially since I'm also recording a video. Looking at the plus minus, we can see that essentially every player was positive except for two. Harris, who was one of the freshman guards, and Johnson, who was a three-point specialist who only played early parts of the season but didn't play much already at the end of the season. I believe he got injured or he was going to transfer. Baycott was the best player on North Carolina, followed by Black, and that makes sense also when you have the eye test, when you look at plus minus. When it comes to points above replacement on offense, we can see again that Baycott is in the positives, Kessler's in the negatives, Brooks is also in the negatives, but he's also a lot better on defense. Where I don't think I have my defense. Oh, I do. It's over here. He is better on defense. Looking at the shooting charts, here we can see again this North Carolina theme of being really bad at shooting from three. They only shot 0.98 points per attempt from catch and shoot threes for 32.8%. And they were as bad from uncontested catch and shoot threes for 33.6% as they were from contested catch and shoot threes, which are 32.4%. However, the funniest thing about North Carolina's shooting charts is the putbacks. So North Carolina had 180 putbacks this season, scoring 119 of them for 66.1% for 1.32 points per possession. And this made up 11% of their total points. So they averaged 75.2 points per game, and almost 7% of those 7 points of those were almost basically all upon putbacks. They scored more from putbacks this season than they did from drives, which was only 9% of their total output, cuts, and they scored as much from putbacks as they did from post-up attempts and off-the-dribble shots. So they relied heavily on putbacks, and that's kind of a weird combination of being really bad at three-point shooting, which creates more offensive rebounding opportunities, as well as just having really good players inside who can make the most of those opportunities and get a lot of good putbacks. Looking at the opposition's shooting charts, you'll see that they're a little bit better from three when they load. Just got to give it a sec. There we go. They're a little bit better. They have a more traditional split from three-point shots, catch and shoot three shots, 43.5% from uncontested attempts. You'd still want that better in an ideal world. If you're a team, you would probably want like 50% from uncontested attempts, because that's going to be balanced out by your contested attempts, which is 32.5% here for North Carolina's opposition. They scored most of their points from catch and shoot threes, as well as off the dribble shots and a lot of drives. Again, that's quite normal to have a lot of points from drives, as that's quite a common shot type. As you can see, 334 total shots from drives. However, North Carolina, you would think with their big front court, be able to get a bit more, have a bit more rim protection in that area. Though they did hold the opposition to 1.1 points per attempt at the rim. So now we're going to look at the lineup analysis. Oh, if I can open it. There we go. And I'm going to select my starting lineup here for North Carolina. Now, they had a different starting lineup at the start of the season. They were usually running Love, Davis, Black, Brooks, and Baycott. However, at the end of the season, they actually transferred to a different lineup of Love, Walton, Black, Brooks, and Baycott. And that's basically because Walton was their best three-point shooter, and Davis had a better impact off the bench. So this is their starting lineup. You can see on offense with and without this group, and then on defense with and without this group, with overall plus minus at the top. Now, this number here, this 5.4, that's how many points per possession, that's how many points better per 100 possessions this team was than their opposition. So that's a pretty good number, 5.4, relative to everything else, considering that without this group, they're only plus 1 points per 100 possessions better than the opposition. However, this team is not very good at three-point shooting. You see this team is 29.3% from 3, whereas all lineups without this group is 32.8. However, they do score as many points as any other group, probably because of their two-point shooting, 48.8 to 47.8. And they're also not as good at from rebounds. They do commit less turnovers. They have less assists. And they actually score less points per 40 minutes. And they score less points per 100 possessions, which is a 78.8 number compared to the 79. However, where this team really flourishes is on defense. So you can see here on the points per possession, with this group, they hold the opposition to 0.73 points per possession, whereas all lineups that aren't this group hold the opposition to 0.78 points per possession. So that's quite a big difference. That's 0.05, which might not seem like a lot in the big picture, but when you're doing, like thousands of possessions a game, or thousands of possessions, that actually adds up to quite a lot. Now, the last comparison I want to do is just show you the North Carolina stats with Baycott and Sharp on the court. North Carolina usually just ran a lineup of either Sharp or Baycott and then either Brooks or Kessler. They never really ran Sharp and Baycott together. Well, that's not true. They did run them together, but not in a large amount of minutes, which really disappointed me because by far this was their best front court group. As you can see, per 100 possessions, they were 13.5 points better than the opposition, whereas all lineups without these two on the court were negative 0.2. So North Carolina was at their best statistically and unequivocally when Sharp and Baycott were on the court together. You can see that's a big difference in the points per possession on offense, 0.9 points per possession to 0.77. They weren't as good on defense. They were as good as any other lineup. But on offense, they were just killing people. 52% from two-point shots compared to 47.3%. And this group even shot better. When Sharp and Baycott were on the court, they even shot better from 3, maybe because there was less attention to the three-point shooters and more attention on them. And obviously, they have more offensive rebounds, less turnovers, more assists, more points per 40 minutes, better effective field goal rate, just a bit better at everything. Even if you compare it to the team, because it's just without, this is with them. If you compare it to the team average when it loads, again, it's very slow. So they were 0.9, the team's average was 0.79. So even then they were 0.11 points better than the team average. So this group, I feel like they should have played this more. Unfortunately, they won't be able to play it next season because Sharp is declared for the NBA, unfortunately. Baycott's coming back, but unfortunately, we won't have Sharp, though we will have Love, Walton, and I believe Black as well. So that's my statistical North Carolina season review. If you have any questions, my email's in the description below. If you have any questions about the windows, my email's in the description below, as well as a link where you can find out how to purchase them. Thank you very much, and thanks for watching.